Hello there, and a warm welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Mayowa Ogundele. Now, there are growing concerns about the impact of digital age and social media on social behavior, as many studies have tied addiction to the internet and social platforms to mental health challenges. Here in Nigeria, the social cyberspace has been riddled with incidences of various individuals creating alternate lifestyles different from the ones they truly live. In other words, many are living out fake lives on social media. Recently, a female blogger was involved in a scandal after she claimed she built a mansion at age 30. Well, when the actual owner debunked her claim, she blamed it on desperation to accomplish a personal goal. So what is the root cause of all this? And is this a trend that needs to be addressed urgently? That's what we discuss on today's program. But first, let's take a look at trends in the past week.
The celebration
Different from the ones they truly live. In other words, many are living out fake lives on social media. Recently, a female blogger was involved in a scandal after she claimed she built a mansion at age 30. Well, when the actual owner debunked her claim, she blamed it on desperation to accomplish a personal goal. So what is the root cause of all this? And is this a trend that needs to be addressed urgently? That's what we discuss on today's program. But first, let's take a look at trends in the past week.
The celebration of the end of Ramadan period by Muslim faithful all over the world made social media's biggest topic in the past week. Many users, particularly in Nigeria, took to various online platforms to mark Eid al-Fitr. During the Ramadan, observant Muslims abstained from eating and drinking from sunrise to sunset for the entire month. This is intended to bring the faithful closer to God, and scored twice in the final 2 minutes of the match to complete his hat-trick against Switzerland. The match ended 3-1 in favor of Portugal.
Well, those were the trends in the past week. Now, joining me in the studio to discuss the topic at hand, I have a blogger, Leila Ijoma. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
I also have Olurunke Ogini, who's a clinical psychologist.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. And on Skype, all the way from Delaware in the United States of America, I do have Timileyin Bello, who is a PR consultant. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, Myra, for having me.
All right, let's begin this conversation from here in Lagos. You are a clinical psychologist. The topic at hand is digital age and social behavior. We're seeing a trend of people creating alternate lifestyles on social media. And, in recent past, we've heard of different people coming online to claim a lifestyle that they actually do not have, and it's landed them in trouble. It's not the first of its kind. We've seen that over and over again. And it's quite troubling, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. The reason for this discussion today basically could be traced down to the kind of personality types some people have. Some individuals have the histrionic personality types. Those are the ones you call the drama kings, the drama queens and all. And then you have those who have the narcissistic personality types. They are more into ego. That's the likes and comments of the followers, of their fans, their friends. All of this keep them going more and more, and then posting all of those things. It actually it drives their innate traits of this particular personality they have. And also we have individuals who have those feelings of inadequacy. They feel, oh, if I post this out there, by the time people comment on it, they indicate their likes and all that, they love it, then I feel fulfilled within myself. I feel satisfied. And then there's this feeling of fulfillment on the achievement compared to their contemporaries, what they feel their contemporaries have based on the pictures, the posts, and all of that. So they feel they want to be like that as well. So they go on, and that they need validation from other people. This feeling of acceptance by people around them, by people it's a global village out there, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. So they feel by being accepted by these people, they validate themselves, they feel they are who they're supposed to be by having all of this. And in adolescence, we have discovered that at the stage of adolescents, while they are growing up, they have a sense of identity they're trying to build. They have a sense of self-esteem. They are building their self-worth, their self-efficacy in themselves. So by having those pictures of those kind of fake lifestyles out there, it actually helps them develop at this point. And if they do not navigate the stage properly, it actually leads to a very low self-esteem later on in life.
Now, this topic, I think, it's beyond the surface. I think it's very deep. I've read different articles telling us the dangers of being so addicted to social media, and just tell us a bit more in that line. Is it really dangerous for
Yes,
people
it
to?
actually is dangerous because by the time you're unable to navigate the adolescent stage, like I said, and you develop into adulthood, still having the sense of low self-esteem and all that, later on it develops into mental health challenges, anxiety, depression, and now you're having the strength of suicidal ideations, attempts, and eventually, if they get successful at it, actually, it leads to death, and it actually affects their family members and their loved ones generally.
Now, let me go over to Leila. You are a blogger, and I'm sure that you have all these social platforms that you use to
Of course.
push content and, try to get eyeballs. But I know that recently Instagram there was talk that Instagram would take out the likes.
Okay.
So you can't really see how many likes.
People liked.
So for someone like you, who you need likes, so you're a blogger as well, and you need people to see what you're doing. Okay, so you're trying to get traffic to your sites and all that. When you take out such things and when you see the reasons why they've put out, they want to do this, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's a step in the right direction?
When I heard that Instagram was thinking of taking away likes from, sincerely, I was excited because I was like, it's going to return people posting pictures for meaning. As in, people would no longer, like, I know people that go on social media just because they are chasing clout, they are chasing likes, they are chasing comments, because they want to go viral, because they want to trend. You see them do things that on a very good day, like a sane human being should never do this. You see people get into a lot of nasty things just to get likes, just to get comments. No, with no doubt, social media is an undeniable huge force. You can actually start a movement worldwide, not just in your area, not just in your locality, just by a single post, just by a single tweet. It has happened. Social media has changed lives. Social media has given people jobs. Social media has helped make people make millions on a very good day that they, as in because they don't have a day job, as in like a 8 to 4 job, like they don't be able to make so much money, but because they are on social media, they've been able to hit all those, high levels. But we now realize that with social media, people have, like, everybody looks like they are winning big, they are living big, except me. You open up your WhatsApp stories and you're seeing like so many pictures, people living the life that you wish you are living.
Let me just bring in Timile at this point of the conversation. I like when you said living large and living that life. Timile, I know that you have worked with a lot of entertainers in your career, and I think a lot of people also accuse entertainers of promoting that lifestyle, in their posts and even in their music videos. We see them, portraying a lifestyle that they do not necessarily, have the means to support. Would you say that they have also contributed to all of this?
Well, for entertainers, you really can't blame them. It is what they do. That's their lifestyle, really. They need to really show the world, that they're making this money that people think that they're making, and also it's also good for their own branding as well. You don't want to be an entertainer and be seen as someone who is not actually, making ends meet. So, yeah, they have their own quota that they are contributing to this effect, but then they are not totally to be blamed for this. I'm not sure any entertainer will push anyone to try to live a fake life on social media. What I think the problem is just pure peer pressure. So that is what is going on with people. So nobody is trying to compete with an entertainer. So they're trying to compete with their friends who is doing well that themselves. You know, so I think entertainers should not be blamed for this. Those are actually living their lives, you know, and they are trying to position themselves rightly, you know, to get brand endorsements, you know, to get the right deals that they want to get. So I don't think entertainers should be blamed for this.
All right, but if you excuse entertainers, how do you explain when, let me say, regular people try to do the same thing because they're also trying to position themselves for, other benefits as well. So how do you explain those two sides?
Well, for regular people, really, there's this thing called peer pressure, you know, and we all know about these things, you know, right from when we were, you know, when we're kids, you know, we want to see how we're doing against our friends, you know. It's like life is a competition on its own. So everyone wants to be seen, everyone wants to be seen living the lifestyle, everyone wants to be seen wearing Gucci and all those things, you know, or you're trying to imitate one entertainer or the other when you don't even have the money, you know. So it's just pure peer pressure, you know, pure to the fact that, or you're trying to push out negativity. So sometimes people do this thing because they want to push out negativity. You know, maybe they see that a friend is doing well by themselves and they feel bad about it and they said, okay, let me just live this lifestyle so that I can push out this, you know, same negativity out of my body, you know. So that's just the way life is, you know, is the human factor. It will keep happening over and over again, you know, no matter how much you talk about it, people will still keep doing it. And like you were saying about likes on social media, everyone still wants to have that like, you know, Instagram actually wants to roll out a feature, you know, to remove likes, but it's going to there might be a shift to that. You know, people might actually drop off Instagram because people actually go to Instagram for their likes. You know, I know how people refresh their notification just to see how many people have liked their post or how many people have seen it to the explore page. You know, so it's just the human factor really. The human factor is to desire. You know, desire and want is what we actually have in our innate culture. So I don't know. I think
All
it will
right.
still keep happening over and over
All right,
again.
Simile, hang in there. I will be back to you now. Let's, Oluronke.
Okay.
He's said, don't blame the entertainers, but really give us a deeper sense of understanding for what can happen when we continue in this line.
Okay, let's talk about peer pressure now. Okay, you have a colleague and you probably left the university at the same time or something, and then in a few years, less than 5 years time, you already see this person living this large life, giving us pictures or posting pictures of those very large, like you're like within 5 years you've gotten to the stage. Like, how did you get there? So it's actually brings on this negative influence of probably crime in the society. It brings about you feeling, oh, I'm not capable. I haven't gotten to actualize my potential in life. What I actually dreamed of becoming in life, I haven't gotten there yet. I need to keep striving. And if this person does not have the tenacity to actually continue in this way, yes, crime sets in. If crime sets in and probably the person got arrested or something, yes, imprisonment and all that. And if the person goes online of, okay, don't let me go into the way of crime, then anxiety sets in. When do I get to the stage that my friend has gotten to already? How do I achieve this potential I've always dreamt of getting to? Then if this is unable to be achieved in the next probably 5 years time, depression sets in. And then with this, you have other features, other mental health challenges coming in.
Interesting. Now, Layla, a lot of times bloggers feed on content online to generate, stories. Now, do you think that bloggers are also largely, or they should take some share of the blame for this trend that we see? Because you see that most times they just take and post. Do they need to start investigating? Do they need to some sort of fact checking?
For bloggers, we are not going to be held responsible for having to do our job. Like what do we do as bloggers? We post we let our readers know what is happening, what is trending. Our job is to take the news and bring it to our readers. So we don't tell anybody like, oh, go and do this, so you be in the news so that we can take the stories. So we cannot be blamed for this. Our job is just to, once it's happening, we take the stories and we publish.
Well, how about fact checking and investigating?
Fact checking, yes, we always have to ensure that our stories are true. Like it is compulsory. As long as we're not, and again, to most times, you find out that these stories are not even false. They are actually true. People are doing these extreme things on social media, largely due to peer pressure. or whatever the case is. You understand? But it's not like, so in that case, our job is to still take these stories and push it out for people to read.
All right, please hold that thought. We'll take a break now. Please do join us. The conversation continues in a little bit. Stay with us. Welcome back. We still have in the studio our panelists. That's a public affairs analyst, Devo Korea. And of course, we have Dr. Sulaiman Barnabas, who is a lecturer at Bayes University and a political sociologist who is in our Abuja studios. All right, now, what do you suppose, what will that one thing be, if nothing else, one thing you'd like the Buhari presidency to do in the next 4 years?
Well, in the next 4 years, I want the president to actually ensure that the constitutional responsibility of being president, is achieved. And the constitution, or the constitutional responsibility of political leadership, is not just the fight against corruption. That is not the manifest function of government. The manifest function of government, as stated clearly in our constitution, is to ensure the protection of lives and property, as well as the welfare of its citizens. Of course, the fight against corruption is also necessary because it is part of the latent function of governance, of leadership. However, in the last 4 years, we have seen that he has devoted a lot of energy to fighting corruption, and this has not actually translated into the economic welfare of the people. Even the monies that have been recovered, people are asking questions, what are the monies being put into, to ensure that there's welfare for the people. You see, until the people begin to feel the impact of the government in terms of their welfare, they will continue to complain. So in the next 4 years, I want to see a government that is dedicated to the welfare of citizens, a government that is interested in ensuring that people are educated, ensuring that there's no strike, ensuring that the economic burden that we currently have on the very poor in our society is reduced. And so to that extent, they should ensure that people get what people are paid, right. Civil servants are paid, and when they are paid, they shouldn't use any tax laws to get back the money. So policies must be in place to ensure that the people fare well in their economic lives.
All right. Devo, just in talking about how we can make sure things go forward and get better, social investments in the last 4 years, the trader money and the likes, what would you say, how well would you say those did, and would you advise more of that?
Yes, I would, because the social investment policy is a socialist point of view, meaning let's just give to the people and empower them. But I would task the government to review its makeup. Recently, the First Lady chided the management of the Social Investment Fund on how far they've gone and that it was not reaching everywhere. And they gave a breakdown. I think they've gotten about up 470 billion in the last 4 years. Now, some say that instead of giving someone fish, you should teach them how to fish. Now, what I'm speaking to is empowerment by way of education, by way of creating entrepreneurial engaging opportunities for the youth. Now, you see, they're the future. They cannot become the future if they have no capacity. With the high level of illiteracy in Nigeria, there's not much to expect. So our policies, our agendas, our planning have to go towards educating the youth so that in time they will become productive. You don't get to the productive stage unless they have been given some capacity. Now, everything that has to do with that. So instead of being social investment, it has to become government agenda, that we are out and only out to empower our people, to ensure that from primary school to secondary, as well as the tertiary and vocational courses, our people are empowered so that they can give back to the society. They can't go far because even after 4 or 5 years, even if you keep giving them 10,000 naira, they won't be able to be as productive as you would expect. So, like I said, a review on the social investment scheme to ensure that there's a future coming as far as they empower them.
I must thank you, Dr. Sulaiman Barnabas, for joining us on Channels Beam. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, Devo Okorie, thank you so much for coming
My
on
pleasure.
the program, who is a public affairs analyst. Just before we go, let's take a look at the most viewed videos on our channel in the past week.
At number 5 is a video showing proceedings at the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal, where the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Bulkachua, withdraws based on what she describes as personal reasons. It will be recalled that the People's Democratic Party had asked Justice Bulkachua to recuse herself because of her relationship with her husband and son, who were card-carrying members of the APC. A new member of the tribunal will be appointed in due course.
I was expecting the social investment 500 billion naira funds to be utilized in a different method in order to achieve the aim, But I don't know the method they used. Most of the northern states did not get the money. I don't know. My state didn't get the money.
Next is the allegation by the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, that the federal government's social investment program has not been properly implemented, a claim that is quickly debunked by the senior special assistant to the president on social investment program, Miriam Uwais.
It is not true that we have had 500 billion to work with. In 2016, we only got released 80 billion of the 500 billion appropriated. The second year, we only got 140 billion released. And this year, we've got about half of the amount, 252 billion released.
The APC themselves are architects of their problem. So there's no any sympathy that anyone should accord to them. And I, for one, am not a supporter of this kind of shenanigan.
At number 3 is the video showing a discussion on the Supreme Court's judgment on the 2019 Zamfara elections. While some of the new parties describe APC as the architect of its own problem, Senator Kabiru Marafa of the APC points at the party chairman.
In fact, the party leadership did, what is untoward. Because when your children are fighting and you take side with one of them, I think that is the most irresponsible thing to do. What do you call him? The chairman of the party has shown great, lack of leadership.
The president has to consult widely, not just limited to the party. Yes, the party will be part of it, but he will consult widely.
Next is the debate between the senior special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, and a former minister of works, Senator Adeshaye Ogunlewe, on the selection of ministers in President Buhari's second term.
The party program must take preference over individual ministers' program. So APC must get it right now.
First of all, Femi Gbajabiamila, when he was in the US, had a social security card. And his social security card had the 9th of March, 1962, as his birthday. So in all his records, and in America, all your records are stored against your date of birth. 9th of March, 1962. But in all the other records in Nigeria, the date of birth of Femi Gbajabiamila is 25th of June, 1962. So the question is, when was Femi Gbajabiamila born?
The most viewed video for the week is that which shows the heated debate between a legal practitioner, Tochukwu Uhazurike, and a representative-elect, Yusuf Gaji, over the suitability or otherwise of Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila for the speakership of the House of Representatives.
The same group of people that instigated similar issue did same by taking Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila to court, and as at that time, it is in the Federal High Court, suit number 501 in Abuja here, where the court determined that Femi Gbajabiamila have no issue to answer in the Supreme Court of Georgia.
Well, those are the most viewed videos on our channel in the past week. Do remember the conversation continues on our social media handles showing on your screen. And it's a wrap on this week's edition of Channel Zoom. Thank you for watching. I'm Mayowa Ogundele. See you next time.